What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and today is day number 23 since I decided to do real estate wholesaling in South Carolina. So, every single day I'm taking steps to move the needle along, and currently I have a contract for purchasing a property that I'm in the process of trying to get rid of or getting rid of, and moving forward to get another contract and continue to build the buyers list, put systems in place, understand more about the marketing and just the whole entire process to do that. So there's two ways that you can do this that I'm seeing, right? You can do this through just taking action yourself, and you're going to learn through taking action, and that's the one that nobody likes to do. The other one is by learning through somebody else, and that's the one where people love to go to YouTube or read, but they don't like to do the first one, is taking action. So I'm taking action every single day to move this along, as well as I'm actually paying for a coach, or mentor, or whatever you want to call it. So I wanted to talk about that and give you all that information for free, so that if you are taking action, hopefully some of this stuff can be valuable to you, and you can take that and move forward. So with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. I appreciate you being here. Better press that thumbs up button. Okay, so as I mentioned, today is day 23, and this morning when I got up, actually it was last night, after I filmed day 22, I was like, I really need to focus more. I made about 50 different contacts yesterday in terms of just reaching out to people to see if they were interested in purchasing, by looking through different Facebook groups, trying to find people who are purchasing in South Carolina or North Carolina, and just asking if they were interested. Here's the deal I've got. Are you interested? Next, here's a deal I've got. Are you interested? And whether that's through an email or through Facebook Messenger, I was doing that for several hours yesterday, and I reached out to 50 plus people. And then today I had the first training, or like coaching, or whatever you want to call it. So that was probably about 6 hours or so. And a lot of the stuff on there seems to be right on track in terms of how I'm moving things forward. But last night, after I finished that up, I was like, oh, I should actually probably just do more of reaching out to buyers, right? If I reached out to 50 today, just reach out to 50 tomorrow, maybe 100, 50 the next day, to 100, and continue that process until I find a buyer, right? If you ask enough people, doesn't matter what the deal is, eventually somebody's going to say yes. So you just got to ask more fucking people. And then the same thing with sellers. So before getting on the training, I think started at 10 o'clock or something like that, 11 o'clock, and then went till about 4. So that's whatever that is, about 5 hours. It was slightly less than 5 hours. And before this, I was talking to my business partner about in the morning, that the two areas that I see are going to be the highest value areas to move anything forward is going to just be getting in contact with more sellers and getting in contact with more buyers. Doing both of those things are going to be two of the highest ROI is return on investment of my time, right? What's going to give me the highest return on my investment and my invested time? And that's talking to more buyers and talking to more sellers. And I got on, so it was like a coaching and just like a guidance and answering questions and moving everything forward to understand where people were and where they're trying to go, and what are the steps that need to be in place to move there. And after the call, it was a Zoom call, the same thing played out, where it was like, yeah, you just need to be more on the phone, calling more people, or contacting more people, and just networking more. And so more of every single thing that I'm doing. And so this is going to be very interesting. If you are starting out on wholesaling, and if you have any questions, let me know down below, or jump over to Instagram. There's a link in the description, and happy to help if I can. The primary thing that was I'm taking away from it, there was little bits and pieces, but is just doing more of what I'm already doing, and the consistency. So right now, sales calls might be done every 2 to 3 days is when I would do sales calls. Every other day or every 2 days or something, I would do some sales calls. And the same thing for reaching out for buyers. I wasn't actually necessarily consistently doing that. I was gathering email addresses, but I wasn't individually reaching out to them. And I would gather the email addresses, I'd put them into MailChimp, then I'd send out a mail campaign. But it's definitely not going to yield as high as results as just individually reaching out and asking people if they're interested in it. So doing more of both of those things, of just contacting way more people, on both sides of the spectrum to be able to put in more offers. And the other interesting thing that I took away was reaching out to more real estate agents. So I've only talked to a couple real estate agents, but just asking them, letting them know what I'm doing, and if they had anybody who had a property that they'd be interested in selling or taking a cash offer on, and then just putting a cash offer and emailing it to them. Right? And this way you're building your network. So I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing in terms of increasing the volume of production from just getting to talking to more people. This is going to be an interesting week with the refocus, because I've been doing a lot of different things. Everything is moving forwards, right? We've got the Facebook page up, we've got a website up, we've got Facebook ads going, we've got Facebook ads going for the contract, we've got an email list already set up, and a bunch of text message marketing that we're going out, but that's for more of an affiliate program than for the wholesaling. But getting that refocus on just talking to more and more people, and it's probably been about a week since I was out for driving for dollars. So both of those, just refocusing on just getting to more people. So this week is going to be a great week, and working on doing a schedule. So I want to lay out really briefly what my morning routine is. Most of the time when I'm in the shower, I'm doing my affirmations. And then that'll be like the first thing I get up and do is I'll take a shower. And then the next thing that I'll get up and do after I do the shower is I have a notebook and I go through and write down my goals. So the goals are much more macro in sense, like, hey, make $1 million a year, or hey, do this. And I create more clarity around those and just different, It's like if you write down a goal on January 1st and you're looking at it today, what is that goal? It's a fucking writing on a piece of paper that you wrote several months ago. If you write down that goal every single day, and by the way, I do this twice a day, so I do this in the morning and at night. So if you write down your goal every day, multiple times a day, then it's fresh, right? Like when you wrote down your goal originally, maybe you were actually consistent. Maybe you actually fucking took action, right? For several days before you stopped taking action. So writing it down every single day, multiple times a day, so I do it in the morning and at night, it refocuses the mind on what I'm actually going after, what it is that I'm actually working towards achieving. And after I write down my goals, then I have another notepad, and you can see here, and then I fill up the whole thing and I put stuff on the side. Sometimes I fill it up over here too, or sometimes I carry it over to the next page. And what I'll do is I'll write down much more activity-based things to do to move the needle forwards. And so every single day I've got one of these, and even if I'm only knocking off half of this list, even if I'm only knocking off a portion of this list, 20-30%, it's still moving everything forwards every single day, 7 days a week. That is my objective, to continue to move forwards. The aggregation of marginal gains is what I like to call it. But the aggregation of marginal gains has a very synergistic effect. When you think about you break that down into two different pieces, right? So you have the marginal progress you're making, and then you have the aggregation of all those. So marginal is just like that next little bit. You have that marginal progress that you're making every single day, and the aggregation of all of those over time has a synergistic effect. So essentially, if you were pushing a train or fucking whatever your thing is, if you're pushing a train and you can keep making it go faster and faster every single day, as you move that train faster and faster, the momentum, the inertia behind it helps to continue to carry that forward. Not necessarily at the same speed of increasing, right? But it has a lot of momentum behind it because every single day you're taking these steps and they're continuing to add up to move this giant ass train forward at a faster and faster pace. Think of large, I'm sure you can easily come up with several in your mind, large companies, or first for me it comes up like banks, but a lot of large companies who just don't seem to have their shit together, right? And they're gigantic companies because they have so much inertia behind them and the motions that they're taking in terms of the actions that it just is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, even though it's not like the most effective, the most cost efficient, the best way of doing things. It might not even be the right way of doing things. But that's just what they've been doing for so long that they get all this inertia pushing them forwards, and they just continue to go on. I worked at a bank, and that's why I thought of a bank. And cool, awesome people and everything, but the policies and the technology that they use in the whole industry, minus several firms, but in the whole industry, is antiquated as fuck. And you see these large companies that have this, you wonder how they're still in business, and it's because of the aggregation of all these marginal gains that they've made over the years, and then that was good enough. And now they're just literally coasting on all the work that happened before that, right? All the work that was done before that, they've got this giant fucking train moving forwards from all of the efforts and everything that was made back here, and now they're not really doing anything, right? They've got technology that's 16 fucking years old. They've got a hodgepodge of different patches and fixes for it that makes the lives of the end consumer, as well as the person who's going to be using it, employees, much more challenging. And that's why I think taking that step to constantly look for those marginal gains, Toyota famously brought to light the TQM or something. This is like total quality management, and they're always looking, not necessarily on a daily basis, but new engineers would actually come in and look for, say, okay, well, this person, then they would document it, right? They pick up something over here, they rotate their body about 37 degrees over this way, they set it down, right? But when they came over here, they actually had to bend down 20 degrees to pick it up. Well, why don't we just put a platform underneath there so that's up higher, so it's better ergonomics for the person, and instead of having it come over here, why don't we just actually shift it this way so that instead of changing 37 degrees from over here to over here, they only have to change 23 degrees, right? And then over, 14,000 pieces per day, how much time is that going to save, right? Or how much less stress on that person's body, or like if you have multiple shifts, how is that going to be affected? And that is what I'm talking about when I think about these marginal gains, right? It's all of the gains now, all of the things that I'm doing now are moving things forward. As this continues to build, then that's where you can start searching for more things. But if you pay attention to your business or whatever you're doing, there's always opportunity to get better, to learn, to improve what you're doing. And the second you fucking think that there's not, you fucking lose, right? That's your next step out. You might have all this momentum that's going to carry you forwards for a while, but that's your first day of losing, right? It's the first time you start fucking thinking that way. Bye. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to follow along as this moves forwards. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon.